Palkhivala Foundation, Chennai extends a warm welcome to each one of you for today's lecture meeting to be delivered by Dr. Kiranbedi. Before we start the formal proceedings, may I request all of you to switch off your mobile phones or keep them on silent mode because they tend to interrupt with the proceedings. May I now request Mr. S. Mahalingam, Managing Trustee, Palkhivala Foundation, to formally deliver the welcome address.
Dr. Kiranbedi, Dr. Badrinath, and friends, I would like to extend my warm welcome on behalf of Palkhivala Foundation to all of you who have assembled here to listen to Dr. Kiranbedi. This talk is in a series organized by us to examine in depth the issues of governance of the nation. I'll start with giving you a brief background on the Palkhivala Foundation. Mr. Nani Palkhivala was a great jurist, a leading figure in the corporate scene, a perceptive observer of the economic scenario, a great philanthropist, a diplomat, and above all, a great patriot. A few like-minded persons who had been influenced by his written words and speeches, and also through personal contact, decided to get together to form the Palkhivala Foundation of Chennai, a city he appreciated for its intellectual vigor. There are a number of activities that we have undertaken to further the causes for which he stood. We have organized lectures and speeches by eminent persons, and we have had a number of them, starting with Mr. Soli Soraji, who spoke on Mr. Palkhivala on the Constitution. Besides Mr. Soli Soraji, we have had legal luminaries such as Mr. Fali Nariman, Mr. Ram Jethmalani, and Mr. Venkatachalaya. On the issues of corporate governance, we have had Mr. Y.H. Maligaon. On the question of ethics, we have had Mr. N. Vittal. On economic issues, we have had Mr. Raghuram Rajan, Mr. Yashwant Sinha, and Dr. S. Narayan. On the social development side, we have had Mr. Jayaprakash Narayan, and on the medical field, we have had Dr. V. Mohan. And on foreign policy, we have had Mr. G. Parthasarathy, and now we have Dr. Kiranbedi. Besides these lectures, we have started the Constitutional Law Library at the University of Madras. The foundation has also incubated the Nani Palkhivala Arbitration Center. Its facilities have been extensively used for the purpose of bringing about cost-effective alternate dispute resolution method. These are our activities in the legal area, a field in which he was the undisputed leader. We hold competition among students in the area of elocution. Public speaking was an area where he excelled. His speeches after the budget were always a great event to be attended, and through these competitions we are attempting to identify talent. The eminent people in the governing council of this foundation are Mr. K. Paraswaran, former Attorney General for India, Dr. Badrinath, Mr. N. Murali, Joint Managing Director of The Hindu, Mr. S. Ram, eminent industrialist, Mr. Vagu, and Mr. Rangachari. The affairs of the foundations are run by trustees. Besides me, we have Mr. Arvind Datar, Mr. R. Anand, Mr. Ranganathan, Mr. Vijay Raghavan, Mr. Raja, and Mr. Jayakumar. An important activity of this foundation is to educate the public on issues facing the nation. He was a towering intellectual who attempted to shape the thinking of a generation. Mr. Palkhivala attempted to preserve the great Indian traditional values while helping it become a modern nation. I would like you to spread word of the activities of this foundation to your friends so that many more people can participate in the activities of this foundation. Once again, I would like to extend my very warm welcome to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mahalingam. May I now request Mr. Arvind Datar, Trustee of the Palkhivala Foundation, to elaborate a few other issues about the foundation and also introduce the speaker.
Dr. Badrinath, Mr. Mahalingam, our distinguished chief guest, Dr. Kiranbedi, and distinguished members of the audience. Before I introduce Dr. Kiranbedi, I'd like to mention one more aspect about the Palkhivala Foundation. Apart from the PhD center, which we set up in the University of Madras, the Palkhivala Foundation has also promoted perhaps the first institutional arbitration center in Madras. It has been notified under the Arbitration and Conciliation Act of 1996, and we have set up a full-fledged arbitration center consisting of 3 arbitration halls in Madras. This center was inaugurated by Mr. Fali Nariman in December 2005. And thanks to the efforts of all my co-trustees and fellow members of the Governing Council, the center has picked up very well. In fact, in June, we had 39 arbitrations in 26 days, and the center hopes to go from strength to strength. Well, this center is organizing a seminar along with CII, the Confederation of Indian Industry, at the Park Sheraton Hotel on Monday. So those of you who are interested in knowing the importance of institutional arbitration can register yourself outside the hall immediately after the function. The function starts at 9:30 at Park Sheraton and ends by, it includes a lunch at the hotel. Now I have the very pleasant task of introducing our speaker, Dr. Kiranbedi. First of all, I must thank her for accepting our request to come down to Madras despite a very busy schedule in Delhi. When I downloaded her CV from the website, her website, which is kiranbedi.com, and I would advise you to have a look at it this evening, I was absolutely astounded at how much she has achieved in her career. And to give you a true perspective of what she has done, I'll divide her achievements in 3 regions: academics, sports, and a professional achievement. Dr. Kiranbedi was born in Amritsar, and she finished her school at Amritsar and finished her MA in Political Science from Punjab University, standing, not surprisingly, first class first. She then finished her law degree, and I was just suggesting to her that after retirement she can take up law as well. And then after that, she completed her doctorate from the Indian Institute of Technology in Delhi. Her thesis was on drug abuse and domestic violence. She then was awarded a Jawaharlal Nehru Fellowship for her work done at Tihar Jail, which all of us have read about. Apart from that, she received honorary doctorates from the Guru Nanak University and from the prestigious New York University in recognition of her approach into prison reforms and policing. Now, let me come to the sports. She has been a national junior tennis champion, a national senior tennis champion, and Asian tennis champion. And I may share with you a small secret. A common friend, Mr. Tulsi from Delhi, told me that when she was the captain of the ladies team in Punjab, she used to beat the men's captain in tennis match. Now, as you know, Dr. Kiranbedi was the first member of the Indian Police Service, and she joined the prestigious IPS in 1972. And undoubtedly, her joining she has become the role model for many, many women later to join the Indian Police Service. In less than 10 years after she joined the Indian Police Service, she was put in charge of the 9th Asian Games and later for the Commonwealth Conference, which was held in Goa. I still remember as a student in Bombay, her photograph on the front page of Indian Express and Times, where she was holding on to a helmet and making a lathi charge in the Akali agitation at that time. Apart from that, she has been the DIG of Police in Mizoram, the IG of Police in Tihar Jail, where she has introduced Vipassana meditation and several other reforms which have been extremely important in the reformation of prisoners. She was Special Secretary to the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi and then Joint Commissioner of the Delhi Police. She was IG of Police Chandigarh, and currently she is the Director General of Home Guards and Director of Civil Defence. Apart from this, I must make special mention of her appointment as Special Advisor to the UN Secretary General Kofi Annan on civil policing. And when I asked her the role, she said that she was advising the United Nations with regard to 17 countries where there was complete breakdown of civil law and order, and they were advising those governments as to how to maintain law and order. And she mentioned that the police there literally resurrected Liberia from total chaos. Now, I'm not done. She's received the Police Medal for Gallantry from the President of India. She's received, very, very important, she's the only police officer who has got the Ramon Magsaysay Award for government service. And it's an irony that it's an award for peace and it has been given to a police officer. Apart from that, she has received, ladies and gentlemen, the list is too long. She has received awards from the United States, from Europe, from China, from Mauritius, Canada, Japan, and so on. And then she's also been invited to various fora. She seemed, after I spoke to her, she's taken a special interest in drug abuse and drug trafficking, and she's also promoted her own NGO called Navjyoti, which has rehabilitated no less than 12,000 drug dependents. Apart from that, she's been invited in various fora and symposia in the United States, in the United Kingdom, Denmark, again China, in Pakistan, in Bangkok, Norway, and most important and most interesting, she also is invited to have breakfast with President Clinton. Now, there have been 3 books on her. There's a biography on her life called I Dare, which is now translated in no less than 7 Indian languages. She's also authored a book called It's Always Possible on how she transformed one of the largest prisons in the world, that is the Tihar jail. And then there is another biography titled The Kindly Baton, which is authored by a research scholar, Mrs. Meenakshi Saxena. She's written a book on e-governance titled Government at the Rate of Net, which is co-authored with 2 other gentlemen, and it provides a framework to enable people, politicians and administrators and private enterprises to secure developmental impetus. Apart from all this, she contributes a fortnightly column titled What Went Wrong. This is published every 15 days in the Times of India and the Navbharat Times, which are both leading dailies of Delhi. What Went Wrong has compiled real-life stories of criminals as to what went wrong in their lives and subsequently what happened. And these 37 such stories have been compiled in a book called What Went Wrong. It has also been translated in Hindi with the title Galti Kiski, which has also been published by Fusion Books. Apart from a professional appointment, her career appointment as the DGP of Home Guards and Director of Civil Defense, she also involves herself in community organizations, Navjyoti, which I mentioned already, and the India Vision Foundation, and she's also interested in self-policing. Apart from this, their organizations run creches, primary and gully schools, that is, schools for slum children, vocational literary centers for women and adolescents, and there is also a creche training program for women in prison. Ladies and gentlemen, by any account, this is an astonishing sketch of a person's life, and one of the favorite sentences which I heard when I was in college was that the greatest tragedy in life is the difference between what you could have become and what you actually become. And in Dr. Kiranbedi, we have that very rare, very gifted person who has bridged that gap. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Palkhivala Foundation, I have great pleasure in introducing to you Dr. Kiranbedi. And by public demand, the audience has requested me whether they could ask the questions. After she speaks, we should have about 10 to 15 minutes for questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Datar. And ladies and gentlemen, now the much awaited moment. May I now request Dr. Kiranbedi to deliver the lecture on the subject, Challenges Before Indian Policing, the Way Ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Datar. I thank the Palkhivala Foundation for giving me the honor to be with you this afternoon. I too was a great admirer of Mr. Palkhivala, and I remember having attended some of his pre-budget and post-budget speeches. And I do remember a very warm hug I received from him one day. He was such a warm person. As I walked up to him, he gave me such a big hug, and it was such a wonderful hug that I still don't ever forget. It was a fatherly hug given to a daughter. It was so, therefore, when I got this invitation from Mr. Datar in Delhi, I was amazed and astonished that I was found eligible for coming to the Palkhivala Foundation. It was personally an honor. It was just a matter of choosing the right day and the right time for it. I thank you for being here today to listen to me. The subject was left by Mr. Datta to me, and I thought that was a subject which I could have shared the concept of prison reforms, but I thought it is time to talk about police. But at that time, the Bombay blast hadn't happened. Since the subject given, Bombay blast has happened, and I think we are all reeling under the threat of terrorism at the moment. With the grace of God, Tamil Nadu is safe. I do hope and pray it remains safe. But the key is what will keep it safe. I think that's the real challenge. And Tamil Nadu doesn't live in isolation. It is the national safety, to my mind, which is so critical, which will have a direct or an indirect bearing on the growth and development and progress of even Tamil Nadu. Friends, I thought of sharing with you on this subject in 3 parts.